Okay, now 1.6 says passengers have booked more than one baggage item. Write a query that will show total weight of each passenger's baggage items. Call the total weight of each person's baggage total weight. Order the result descending order by total weight. The airline needs to determine the total weight of the booking by a passenger. Okay, so step one, so we go create query design. You close your query design. You switch to SQL. As I say, you can use that SQL builder item. It's just I prefer using this purely because the interface is just easier to use. Anyway, so I'm going to open up my baggage and all these other items here just so that I can see all the different fields without referring to them. I'm going to pause the video so people don't have to watch me do this because it's annoying. So it's asking me for total baggage. So if we go, remember we always go select and then we've got to say the fields. Now the fields that we want to do is we want to add together. So we are wanting to do a sum. Sum is to add together, and then remember that's an aggregate function, meaning that it will aggregate all the items there. So we're summing together, and we're summing together the weight. Now as stands, if I say then from baggage, as stands, what this would do is would only put together all the weights of every single person, but we wanted to have per a passenger, right? So what we could do, there's a couple of ways of doing this. It didn't really stipulate whether it wanted the full name of the passenger. Did it stipulate it wanted the full name, or did it just want the ID? Because it says per passenger that's booked there. But for me, I kind of feel that the full name would be the better one worked with. But let's just do it with passenger ID for now. So we're going to say passenger ID, comma, some weight. Now, passenger ID, if there is a aggregate function, we can't just display passenger ID unless we group by it. Because if there's an aggregate function, it means that it either has to be grouped by that field or it has to be had an aggregate function put to it. So it either has to be collated in some means or another, or it has to be grouped by that. So it means any unique entry would be put together. So now if I leave this and I run it like this as stands, you'll see that it'll return passenger 1 has a total weight of 162.61 and so forth. So that will group by the passenger. But as far as it also asks them to order by, so they would then add an order by, and it asks for some weight. But now the problem is it wanted that descending. So I don't remember if it's in front of it or afterwards, but you'll add the term or the instruction DESC, which means descending. So if I run this, it'll now put the biggest weight at the top and the smallest weight at the bottom. So DESC works that. Now as I said to you, I don't know if it was after the term or before the term, but then it's easy solution. You try it. You press run. And if it works, happy birthday. If it doesn't work, it's not your birthday. Now, streamers, balloons. Yeah. Now, if we move back from this, what if I wanted to? And I'm going to make this a little bit more complicated now. What if I wanted the full name? Because quite frankly, I'm showing ID1 as this weight. Like, what the hell's that? Who knows what's happening? So if I actually added full name, I would still have to group by actually full name. But I would suggest we then fail, comma, passenger ID. But because if we were going to display it, we'd have to group by it. Now, the full name field, I would then have to also put a where condition in now, and I'd have to do a link between the two tables. So I'd say where baggage dot passenger ID is equal to passengers dot passenger ID. And then now, when I run this, it should show an error. And the reason, when it shows something like this, where it says enter parameter value, it's because it doesn't recognize the field full name. So full name, and the reason why is I haven't selected my other table, have I? So I've selected the baggage table, but I haven't selected the passenger table. So I created the link, but I hadn't actually showed that I wanted it from that other table. So when I say from the other table, I didn't add the second table there. Nick, do you get it? Don't smell. Now, if I run this now, it still says engine query passenger. Make sure that it exists. It's passengers, plural. Spelling is important. Oh, passenger ID. Order by full name, group by, or passenger ID could refer to both. Let's go passengers dot passenger ID. Let's run that again. Yay! So now I'll say Elmer Glenn has a total weight of 162.61 and so forth. Now, I haven't got the full marks yet because I haven't. If you read the question, it says that the field should be named a total weight, right? So I add it as total weight. So far, do you guys get this? So I run this, it will then go and it'll say full name, total weight. Sweet.
If you want to make total weight separate words, would you put it in inverted commas?
Yeah, if you want, and you could put it in inverted commas or square brackets if you wanted separate words.
Brackets.
Yeah, square brackets. I think inverted commas would work as well, but square brackets is more conventionally the term. So let's say, have we answered everything here? Yes, we have. Sweet. And as I said, technically, I don't think this question worded it as such, but it should have, where it would want the first name. But logically, it makes less sense because now I'm only displaying full name and some weight, but I'm grouping by full name and by passenger ID because I'm trying to say. And the reason why I group by that is because technically full name is not necessarily uniquely identifying. So if there was two Emma Glens, I wouldn't want to group those together. So that's why I grouped by both passenger ID, which is the primary key field there, to ensure that they would be separated. Alright.
So you were instructing us how to build World of Warcraft.
Now, just for interest, this was not asked in the question, but what if I wanted to, if you wanted to make sure, I would also personally round this down to 1 decimal place, if you wanted to. You could do that, but you would do that more for an average than you would for this, and then it would keep it to 1 decimal place. So, quite frankly, you didn't ask for that, so I'm going to leave that. Well, anyway, that done,
What's the code
goodbye, delete. Oh, comma 1.
After comma 1.
If you wanted to round it off to 1, so you would say what field you want to round, and then you'd say comma 1. Defaultly, if you just put round and a value in it, it would round it off to 0 decimal places. But if you say comma, you can say it. But now now guys, this is the brackets thing that we're looking at, but I mean, you guys should know from Java with brackets. I mean, you work with brackets, there's a open brackets, closed bracket, each open has a close. It's the same thing with a lot of stuff. Alright, now delete, goodbye. The next question, it asks, write a query which will display the insured value and weight of each item, baggage, classified, sporting equipment, or other. So here's the big thing, it's all other, as well as the name of the passenger that owns baggage. An example of the first 5 rows output is shown below. Okay, write a query that will display the insured value and weight of each item of the baggage. Okay, so first thing we look at is we look at what do we need. So we're going to say select, we want insured value, so insured value, and that's not how you spell it because my caps lock was on. Let's start that from scratch. Insured select value, and it wants it weight. And this, from what table is this from? It's from table baggage. And now
Where type people like sporting
it was wanting either way
equipment or other.
baggage type is the field name.
And so your
And this is what helps to have it open here so you can see the fields there. So the baggage type is equal to sporting space equipment, damn it, equipment. Or, now here's the big thing. So many people then go equals, but you have to re-refer to what field you're talking about. You can't just go, because remember each of these return a Boolean value. Remember, a comparison returns a Boolean value. So this statement alone returns true or false. So I can't go ahead and now start say equals to whatever. It doesn't know what you're referring to. You have to say then again, baggage type. So it's a separate Boolean condition. It's not the same Boolean condition. It's a separate one. But we're saying this Boolean condition or that Boolean condition. Does this make sense? So it's very important that you do identify with that. Or baggage type is equal to, what was the other option? Other. Okay, so, and then other, it didn't ask for anything else other than that, did it? Baggage type is equal to other. I think that's it. So that was quite an easy query. Did it ask for anything else to be displayed? Oh, insured value and weight of each item of the baggage case, sporting equipment, other, as well as the name of the passenger that owns the baggage. Okay, so we also need the name of the passenger, so that's an important thing. So we want the field full name. But now that we've got a full name field, it means that we actually need another table. We also need the passengers table. And as soon as we add another table, we need to link them. And how do we link them? We say where that we create the foreign key is equal to the primary key. So we say where baggage, what is the foreign key in baggage? Passenger ID, so it's equal to passengers dot passenger ID. I know in my test, you'll notice I'll always name my foreign key fields FK, but not always the case. And obviously in your finals it doesn't, because this is your finals here. Fail! Oh, because I did two ways. I did where. Ooh, now this is tricky. I like this. Because now we've got a where with an or. So now this is the where. Now we've got to state, firstly, this is a separate condition, so you should put it in brackets. Because this is a separate statement. It must be this or that, right? But then this has to be true for both of them, so I would state this, and. So to kind of refer, I'm saying that the baggage ID, where the link is true and it is sporting equipment or other. So they are separate conditions, so I include them in brackets, which means it will do this first, it will return this as a true or a false, and only if this is true and this is true does it return. Does that kind of make sense? It is truth tables, yeah. We did that a bit back, so this is now truth tables in SQL format. Oh yeah. You guys get this? Okay. Now let's run it. Let's see what happens. Happy birthday. So Cheryl Booth, correct. Army Harvey, correct. Tyron, correct. Suki, correct. Barry, correct. Sweet. You guys good? No.
Angry, actually, but yeah.
I'm also hungry. I got a lot of food today, but I didn't have breakfast.
Nice.
I got steak sandwich. Anyway, this is on the video. Oops. Now, now the next question states: write a query which lists the full name of any passenger that does not have any checked-in baggage, i.e., all passengers whose ID does not appear in the baggage table list. Now, there's a couple of ways of solving this. One, you could have done an outer join to make sure that the link doesn't work. But now the main thing here is you can use something called a not. Now not means it's like the exclamation mark in Java, but in SQL it's just the word not.
Cool.
So if I now go select, because all it wanted was the full name from, also I should open up, from where passenger ID. Now here's the lovely thing, is there's two terms I'm going to introduce to you. One is not, and the second one is in. So not in, and now I can run another select statement. I can say select passenger ID from baggage. So now basically what it's doing is it's saying select the full name from passengers where the passenger ID is not in this result set. So this here will return a result set, right, of a whole bunch of IDs. And if it is not in, if I just said it's in, it means it must exist in there. If it says not in, it must not exist in there. That result set. So the word in means is it contained within that. Does that make sense? So in means is it contained, not in means not contained in that. Now I think all these are in your SQL in a nutshell notes, and I failed. And I think one of the reasons why is I think this might need to be included in brackets rather than so that the results are in brackets. Run, yes, that's correct. Okay, so it means that it has to be in brackets. Let's take a look at the results. It's Alma, Shanna, Georgia. Alma and Shannon, Georgia. Oh, Shannon's gone.
It said in the question it will only appear if you successfully did 1.4.
Oh, so I didn't actually update that. Well done. I didn't delete Shanna. I didn't physically run that query and update it. So I didn't run that query.
That's fine.
Bad assessing-ish there, because you should not have something affecting directly later, but it doesn't affect, it only affects the thing and it won't show in the examiner, so it's fine. Alright, now, that was a sidetrack. Alright, question next. Write a query which will list the full name of any passenger that does not have a baggage item. That one we did. Okay, the question next. Again. Write a query which will display all the details of all fragile baggages that was checked in at counter 6, which has an insured value greater than the average insured value of all baggages, and output should be given as follows. Damn. Damn. Okay, so this is obviously the challenging one. So let's
last question, isn't it?
yeah, it is. So let's address it slowly. Firstly, it's asking us to select everything that was checked in at counter 6 star from baggage Now you're saying where
Check in counter
check in counter is equal to 6
and
and has an insured value greater
I'm just trying to figure it out myself. Right?
is greater than what?
You'll have to run an average function, right?
Yeah, you would. So average of insured value. But now the problem is I'm doing this is potentially an issue because I'm a little bit worried that as soon as you run an average function, you're doing an aggregate function within a select statement. It will aggregate everything. So I think we actually have to separate this out. So let's just try it first. Let's do it the simple way, which is unlikely to work. I've got a funny feeling it's not going to work. They wouldn't offer you 7 marks for this. So this is unlikely to work, but the logic is sound. An example of the output is given below. So if I run this now, it'll go because it's kind of going, I can't do this. Now, what I've got a feeling what we might need to do is we might need to do the following.
You have to use brackets, though, aren't you?
I'm thinking so, yeah? Probably from... This might be the case, but I'm not sure. Okay, we run it. There we go. Done. So these are the following passengers who have an assured value that's out there. So it actually wasn't that difficult. It's just that you had to do it. So basically you're comparing it to another select statement in here and you put it in brackets. Easy enough, right?
Cool.
And that is a challenging question in SQL. And as I've stated before, SQL is a matter of just practicing so you remember the terms. If you practice and you remember the terms, the logic is sound. It's an English-like statement, like you're querying a database, and you would say select this, from this, where this, order by this, group by that, whatever. And one of the most important items inside your SQL in a nutshell notes is on page 8 of the notes, and it's this. Because sometimes the thing that is difficult is to actually get your order right. So inner joins, left joins, those kind of things, which we're moving away from a bit, would happen before your wheres, your group bys, and your order bys. And there is such a thing as a having as well, which I haven't gone through, but it's less commonly used. Do you guys get that? So it's as long as you do it in the correct order of events, like you can't do a group by before an inner join, or a group by before where, or those kind of things. That's the important sense of your select statements. I mean, your inserts are generally quite easy. The only tricky part is when you actually insert based on a select statement. Like here, for example, you're inserting, you can insert based on a now function, so it'll be a year from now. You could also insert based on a select statement. So I could insert an example over here, but all of that is in here. Yeah, goodbye.
Bye. Cheers.